So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, The Advent of Lord Krishna, text number 22. Raiva pumsa vadrito dharadvaro bhavadbhir angshar yadushu pajanyatam Yadvat urdhya bharam ishvareshvara Swakala shaktya shapayam sharadbhuvi. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Lord Brahma informed the demigods. Before we submitted our petition to the Lord, He was already aware of the distress on earth. Consequently, for as long as the Lord moves on earth to diminish its burden by His own potency in the form of time, all of you demigods should appear through plenary portions as sons and grandsons in the family of the Yadus. Please repeat. Lord Brahma informed the demigods. Before we submitted our petition to the Lord, He was already aware of the distress on earth. Consequently, as long as the Lord moves on the earth to diminish its burden by His own potency in the form of time, all of you demigods should appear through plenary portions as sons and grandsons in the family of the Yadus. Purport. As stated in the Brahma Samhita 539, Ramadi Mortishu Kalani Amena Tishtan Nanavataram Akarot Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishnak Swayam Sambhavat Paramakwamanyo Govindam Adi Purusham Tamahang Bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, who is always situated in various incarnations as Rama, Nrsimha, and many sub-incarnations as well, but who is the original personality of Godhead known as Krishna, and who incarnates personally also. In this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, we find the words Paraiva Pungsav Vadrito Dhara Dhara Jvara. The word Pungsa refers to Krishna, who was already aware of how the whole world was suffering because of the increase of demons. Without reference to the supreme power of the personality of Godhead, demons assert themselves to be independent kings and presidents, and thus they create a disturbance by increasing their military power. When such disturbances are very prominent, Krishna appears. At present also, various demoniac states all over the world are increasing their military power in many ways. The whole situation has become distressful. Therefore, Krishna has appeared by His name in the Hare Krishna movement, which will certainly diminish the burden of the world. Philosophers, religionists, and people in general must take to this movement very seriously, for man-made plans and devices will not help bring peace on earth. Transcendental sound, Hare Krishna, is not different from the person Krishna. Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purno Shuddho Nityamukto Vinadvan Nama Namano. There is no difference between the sound Hare Krishna and Hare Krishna person. Paraiva Pungsav Vadrito Dharadvaro Bhavadbhir Angshar Yadushu Pajanyatam Sayadvat Urdhya Bharam Ishvareshvara Svakala Saktya Shapayam Charadbhuvi. Lord Brahma informed the demigods, before we submitted our petition to the Lord, He was already aware of the distress on earth. Consequently, for as long as the Lord moves on earth to diminish its burden by His own potency in the form of time, all of you demigods should appear through plenary portions as sons and grandsons in the families of the Yadus. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Bracharne Nirvishesha Srinivadi Bhaskatyade Siddharne. In the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks of the divine and the demoniac. And he says, Dvo Bhuta Sargo Lokesmin, Dvo Imo Purusho Lokesmin, Daivam Asram Evacha, Darva Vistra Sakrota, Asram Parthameshanu. I already explained to you about the godly people. Now I'm going to talk to you about the demoniac people, asuras. Sura doesn't mean someone with two horns and a tail. It means someone who doesn't follow Krishna's instructions. Generally, demons are in the modes of ignorance and passion. Therefore, Krishna says, Pravritim cha, nivritim cha, jana na vidur asura. Nasochim na pichapacharo, na satyam teshu vidite. They don't know what's to be done and what's not to be done. Neither cleanliness, nor truthfulness, nor proper behavior is found in them. In other words, they have no standard to follow, and they act whimsically, as Krishna says, kama karata. They simply follow the dictation of their senses. Of course, people think it's good to follow the dictation of their senses. They don't realize that the senses, if you follow their dictation, you'll go from passion to ignorance to the darkest ignorance. The senses aren't leading us towards a higher realm. Krishna has already explained that. Dusprena analena cha. They're never satisfied and they burn like fire. By serving the senses, one is simply increasing the amount of demands that the senses are giving us. And the more we're under the demands of the senses, the lower mode of nature we become situated in. Therefore, a society where people can easily satisfy the senses has an advantage if it's utilized for spiritual life, because people will not have to work so hard just to get the necessities of life. But we can see they've created artificial necessities, and therefore people are working artificially to get things that are called anarthas, are necessary. And even the things that are actually necessary, these things have diminished, not only in quantity, but especially in the quality of the food and the air and the water, of the peaceful state of society, relationships. These things have all diminished. And simply they've made it harder and harder and harder to get the most basic things. And the symptom of demoniac society is that not only are people unfortunate, but they're also foolish. The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, one of the symptoms of ignorance, he says, San Sattvam Sanjayate Jnanam Rajaso Loba Evacha Pramado Moha Tamaso Bhavato Jnanam Evacha. And if one works in the mode of goodness, then the result is he gets knowledge. If he works in the mode of passion, he becomes greedy, and if he works in the mode of ignorance, he becomes mad, foolish, and bewildered. So people have invented a society where people are trying to become more and more greedy. The whole society is based upon making people dissatisfied with what they have and always trying to get something better. It doesn't matter what computer you have, someone has a better one. And even if you get the best one, in a couple of months, it won't be the best one anymore. Even if you have a nice house, and you work so hard to pay it off, it's going to fall apart. Even if you have a nice car, it can only last for a little bit of time and then you have to keep on repairing it, and then get another car. So in every aspect, every field of life, people are always thinking something around the corner is going to be better, and I need it to make me happy. And even if I get everything I want, still I want more and more. Or even if I get everything I need, I want more and more. In other words, greed has become the more or less standard. The more greedy people are, then the more they're considered to be advanced in modern society. If someone has billions of dollars, they're considered to be a very important person. And if they're trying to get more billions of dollars by hook or crook, then they're considered to be worthy of honor and respect. And people are being honest and straightforward and simple. They're considered to be useless in society. They don't know how to exploit others. They don't know how to exploit the material energy. Therefore, they're not considered to have any value for modern society. Therefore, it's certainly a society of demons, and the result of demoniac behavior is that people become eventually completely crazy. As Krishna says, asatyam apratishtam te jagadoharanishram aparashpram sambhutyam kimanyakama haitukam. They say that this world is unreal, it has no foundation, it has no God in control, it produces sex desire and has no cause other than lust. So people who don't know what standard behavior is, how to work in the world to become free from, as Krishna says, Trividam narakasyedam dvara nashitam atmanaha kama krodha tata lobas tasmadetam trayam jayajet. There are three gates leading to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane person should give these up because they lead to the degradation of the self. So instead of trying to get free from these things, people are ever more enthusiastic to become more and more lusty, to destroy anything that stands in their way of so-called achieving their objectives. And they become ever more greedy to get more and more things, whether they need them or not, just for the sake of having things they consider to be advancing. So neither truthfulness, because people don't know what truth is. Even the absolute truth, the fact that we're not this body, that there's a God who owns everything here, that everything is meant for, and He's the real friend of everyone. That truth they have no idea about. But even relative truth, people are simply interested in only achieving their sense gratification, and therefore, whatever their mind dictates to them, they think that that's what reality is. Therefore, if you approach someone on the street and you ask them something, the first thing that usually comes out of their mouth is a lie. Here, take this book. Oh, I already have a book. Oh, yeah? What's the name of it? Well, I can't remember. Give a donation. I have no money. Well, what's that in your wallet? Oh, that's not mine. It belongs to my friend. Well, borrow from your friend. Oh, I never borrow money. Well, what about all those credit cards you have in your wallet? Those aren't mine. Those are my mother's. They can't respond truthfully. They're just conditioned to everything is a lie. The whole life is a lie. They've taken shelter of untruth. They've taken shelter of uncleanliness. That's like every other week they'll take a shower, even if they're clean. Just for the sake of supporting the understanding of cleanliness. Well, you can see people go into the bathroom. Or in England, they did an investigation. They found everywhere in England there's stool. Because people pass stool and they never wash their hands. Therefore, everything they touch after that has stool on it. So everything has stool everywhere in England. But if they dress up in a nice tie or a suit, they're considered to be clean and gentlemen, civilized. Although they never wash their hands before they eat, what to speak of after they eat? They simply look at it, and if there's nothing they can see, then they consider it's clean enough. Even if their hand is so black, they can't even see their hand. Like in India, sometimes you'll find the rickshaw wallahs. They'll take out their sacred thread, which they never washed since they got it. They say, see, I'm a Brahmin. I have sacred thread. I am Brahmin. So people don't know what cleanliness is. They don't know what truthfulness is. They think I can take some alcohol and rub it on something and then it's clean. Alcohol, the most contaminating substance, they consider to make things clean. And nor is proper behavior. They think behavior means to figure out how to lord it over material nature more. They don't think proper behavior is how to avoid lording over material nature and trying to exploit it. No, they think that's the goal of life. That's the only purpose of life. Therefore, they don't believe in God. They don't believe in God's instructions. They say everything is by accident, that there's no laws, that after this death, after I leave, my body is destroyed, then I just disappear, and I get no reaction for what I'm doing. Therefore, it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. I can do whatever I like. Etam drishtim avashtabhya nashtat manana buddhaya pravat yugra karmana shaya jagatohita. Following such conclusions, lost to themselves, the demoniac create horrible, unbeneficial works meant to destroy the world. So we can see most scientists nowadays, they're trying to figure out how to create better weapons to kill people quicker. They're not satisfied that we can kill people, with our machine guns. They have some gun that fires 20,000 rounds a second. Not just 5 or 10, 20,000. So when we aim the gun on people, they just disappear. So they think that's advancement. Instead of finding something to stop death, they're trying to figure out things on how to quicken death. And they're proud how advanced they are. Just like in the jungle, there are many animals. Some of them are tigers, some of them are deer, some of them are elephants. But after all, whether you're a ferocious animal or a gentle animal, in the jungle, you're an animal. Similarly, in modern society, some people are ferocious, some people are relatively docile. But because they have no idea about God and the purpose of life, how to achieve Him, therefore their only objective is simply to gratify their senses, and in the midst of doing so, they create horrible, unbeneficial things. They say that there's, I forget the name of the website, something about things, how people get the things that they have, how the resources and the material energy are utilized, and then they're made into factory products, and how much waste comes out of the factory, and then from the things that are produced, they're sold, and then they're ultimately something like 99% of what people buy, or at least the value of what they buy, is eventually within 6 months they get rid of it. And they're just chewing up the earth, and they think that's the purpose of life. Create waste and destruction, and they think they're advanced. Therefore, it is said that Krishna has come as the holy name, because obviously we can see that by trying to preach to people, then people will not listen. They think we're crazy for not participating. If you go to an insane asylum, most of the people in the insane asylum are crazy, including the people who work in the insane asylum by association. Therefore, try to preach to them to become sane has no meaning to them. Therefore, Krishna has come with his potencies in the form of the holy name, and by the holy name can clear away the accumulated modes of ignorance and passion and bring people to a platform where they can understand what the purpose of life is. By our telling people what the purpose of life is, that will generally not change people very much unless they chant the holy name or hear the holy name. In this age, the holy name is what's emphasized. Not only we should chant the holy name, but this is the gift that we're giving to people on behalf of Lord Chaitanya, that they should chant Hare Krishna. That way, by associating with Krishna, they may wake up. Just like at night, if you're asleep, people may try to wake you up in many different ways, but the best way of waking you up is through sound vibration, just like an alarm clock or talking loudly, then people will wake up. Similarly, the sleeping soul, who has been asleep since time immemorial, can be woken up by loud chanting the holy name, especially when it's done by devotees who are chanting the holy name offenselessly. Then people can wake up and realize that they're aimlessly trying to gratify their senses will simply result in the same thing. Punak punas charvata charvanana, simply chewing the chewed over and over again. Same eating, same sleeping, the same mating, the same defending. It is said that madness is the definition, one of the definitions of madness, is that you think even if I do the same thing over and over again, eventually I'll get a different result that I got from doing it the first time. So people are thinking, let's do the same thing over and over again, but this time we'll get a different result. But actually they just get the same result, only usually it's lower or lower quality. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya has introduced a different method of life by chanting the holy name, associating with Krishna, taking Krishna prasadam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, worshiping the deities, associating with the devotees, and making the atmosphere spiritual or living in a holy place can change people's consciousness to awaken them to the fact that there's a different purpose of life. Ite vidu swartikatim hi Vishnu darashayaye bahir artamanina. They don't know that the goal of life is to achieve Vishnu. They're being misled by blind leaders. Therefore, naishamatis tavad urukramangrim sprishat yanarto bhagavo yanartam mahiyasam padaruje vishekam iskinchananam navraniti yadva. Prahlad Maharaj says you have to associate with saintly people who are not interested in exploiting material nature, and if you serve their instructions, then you can make some advancement. Because only such saintly people will tell you the instructions coming from Krishna. Don't try to become the Lord, try to become the servant. Don't try to exploit material nature, try to utilize it in Krishna's service. Then you'll become liberated. So those who are trying to do that can tell others to do it, and then there is some progress, there is hope for progress in the modern society. And if people can't hear this philosophy, at least if we chant Hare Krishna, then hopefully Krishna in their heart will help them so that one day they can understand things properly. So I'll stop there.
Sometimes we talk about chanting, dancing, and feasting, but we're not always dancing. It seems like chanting can go on, but sometimes dancing tapers off.
No, dancing.
Sometimes we dance more than other times. So what gets when chanting? What makes the dancing happen? Or sometimes not happen?
The whole world, it says, is full of Krishna singing. But some people, they understand it in different ways. It says the whole world is dancing with Krishna. But those who are trying to imitate him, they're dancing with his Maya. But those who are dancing, following his instructions, they're dancing with him personally. So devotional service is dancing with Krishna. It's like a dance. It's as good as the rasa dance, devotional service. Okay, thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Bol.